Hey everyone. Hey, it's Blockchain Bernie here with my very last AMA before the big launch, before the Xandeum relaunch. And as always, it's just a live stream and it's an Ask Me Anything. So yeah, let's just dive into it. Let me pull up my chat here. Here we go. All right. Hello from UK. Guten Abend aus Bayern. Guten Abend aus Las Vegas. Hello from Braunschweig. All right. I'm here. Ready to rock and roll. Seems like you guys are coming online. In the meantime, let me, before we dive into everything, and there's so much exciting news, and as always, I've kept you guys updated all the time. And yeah, what's coming up is the big launch, and we had that big change of the economic model just a few days ago. I'm super happy. It was well received. It was a difficult thing for me. I had no idea how you guys react to it. You know, so far I've only gotten positive feedback. And as you might have seen, right, with the new pricing model, there were 93 nodes left at the price of $1,500, and boom, 4 hours after my live stream on Sunday, those 93 were gone, right? And the next price is now $2,000, and 6 out of 7 have also been sold. So that is just awesome, and I'm super glad I have this great of a community as you guys, and yeah, taking questions before we dive in. I'd like to show you this here, right? So this is my little diagram, and I like to put Xandeum and why we are doing all this. I like to put it in perspective and into a societal perspective, right? So what we have here on the graph is the collective degree of self-determination and self-realization over time, over different evolutionary steps of humankind, right? And I have a DS and DF. So DS is the determination by oneself, the self-determination, the ability to forge our own destiny and, be just self-determined. That is DS. And DF is the determination by foreign forces, by anything outside of ourselves, which could be leaderships, government, foreign tribes, the need to hunt and to have food next day. These are all foreign forces, right? And I normalized it in a way that DS plus DF always is 1. And what you see in the graph down there is our DS, right? So the degree of self-determination. And I'll put it in a way that the DFI equals DFI minus 1 times 1 over LI. So, and LI is the liberating power of this evolutionary step, right? So, and then my hypothesis is for all I's, Li is greater than 1, which means each and every evolutionary step so far has given us more self-determination than the step before. That's the meaning of this formula. And we are pushing this forward with a next evolutionary step with Web3, where actually all the systems that we all rely on to interact with each other, to do business with each other, they all rely on centralized instances these days, centralized banks, centralized Web2 organizations, the Facebooks of this world, and so on and so forth. And I think it's going to be a big shift, societal shift, to increase that degree of self-determination, and people want to be more self-determined. You see that everywhere. You just need to look into Twitter and you see it everywhere. Nobody says, oh, I want back to the old days, and I just want the government to tell me what to do, and I'll just do it. We want to increase that self-determination, right? And with Web3, that's a big step, but only if we have that storage layer in the Web3, because otherwise it's not even worth being called Web3, right? If we only own the code but not the data that goes with it, right, together in one thing, then yeah, it's not even worth the term Web3. And that's why I'm so excited and happy to do what I do, and I don't want to work on anything else. Okay, so lots of talk here. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Hello from Bath. Awesome. That's a nice place. I think I drove through there many years ago. Okay. Oh, from the United Arab Emirates. That's awesome. Welcome here, by the way. From Munich. Awesome. Okay. How about BTC future? I don't know how you mean that question. Can you elaborate a little bit? Nice graphics. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Great to see you all here. Also, do you have any developers interested in using Xandeum for when it gets to that point? Honestly, that's a great question, Ian. As you all know, last year I was at the summer camp hackathon in San Francisco. It was the Solana hackathon, right? I had so much interest there of people doing, requesting that, but I just had to tell them, hey, it's gonna be sometime. Back in the day, it wouldn't even have make sense to me, create a list or stuff. That they move forward, right? They need to make a decision now. And when our mainnet or at least testnet goes live, right? Then the day is there when we need to find developers, entrepreneurs, startups that just get started, right? And I even, we do our own hackathons and stuff like that, but we can even go to other hackathons, right? And just visit the Solana hackathon or whatever. And just talk to the guys that are sitting there. It was a great experience in participating in that, and I was there every day, right? So for like 2 weeks or so, I was working out of that office there that was provided by Phantom, I believe, the wallet provider. And I met great people there that connected me with other people and stuff like that. So the payback on participating there has been fantastic for us. But we need to be at the right point in time. We just need to focus on development right now, and I'm absolutely unconcerned about finding developers that build on that, because that's some real innovation for them, right? They can build a Web3 app just as they could back in the day a Web2 app. They suddenly have a storage, right? In Web2, every server has a storage, right? You just say fopen in C or so and a file, and you write into a file, right? So all developers are used to do that, and we need to find them at that point in time where they have the idea, they have the determination to make their idea a reality, and then they need some technology to help them make it happen, right? And honestly, I don't fear any lack of interest there. It's gonna be, yeah. All right. Then how will they take care of spreading the idea? For example, among the developers, I think hackathons is a great way, and also, of course, being in these communities, doing some PR, working together with publications and stuff like that. But I believe the hackathons are a great way, and Solana is still doing 4 of those a year, right? And the world is full of hackathons, right? So there's even websites where you can register and you get alerted when there's a hackathon here and there. And it's a great, it's not, don't think of a hackathon really as it was in the beginning and you have a bunch of 18-year-olds. They were there in San Francisco, and I was so delighted to see so many high school graduates there in the summer camp that were, highly skilled in anything blockchain and stuff, right? But it was all age groups there, right? So, yeah, so I think if I have to make a choice, the single best means to spread the word will be hackathons, right? And we can even start with other chains hackathons, right? And going around and spreading the word there. And there is no lack of people that want to develop on Web3 just as they could on Web2, but automatically have a Web3 app, right? Yeah. Okay. Roger Herberg, hi from Germany. All right. Dakar, Senegal. Wow, that is fantastic. Welcome here. Ian again, thanks for explaining. South Africa, that's awesome. Lots of fellow South Africans here in the southwestern United States. I mean, they're everywhere, South Africans, but right here, you meet them everywhere. AR YouTube channel. I am saying hi from Bangladesh. Hey, how are you? In a lot of financial trouble. Someone please help. Okay. Wonders of the world. Can you explain how exactly the saving of Web3 data will take place? Or how to pay with Zand? Yeah. So as I explained in the other call this morning within the crypto club, right? We will have these storage providers. They store the data. The validators that you guys can purchase the nodes of right now, they send challenges to the storage providers, right? So they make sure the storage providers do what they're supposed to do. That is store the data, right? And it will be cryptographic challenges. We send them there. There will be zero knowledge proofs in the form of ZK snarks that will prove that this validator is storing the correct data and can retrieve it. First of all, can retrieve it, and second, that it's a replication, like an independent replication of the data, right? Because what we need to prevent is people creating like 500 accounts, right? And then we have 500 clients that want to store the data. They think they have redundancy and store it on 500. But that guy, receives the rewards for 500, but only stores it one time, right? So that's why we have the proof of replication to mitigate these sort of attacks. And then what we don't have is the proof of space-time. That's what many storage chains these days have, which kind of wear down your NVMe drives in no time. We don't have the need to strike a deal with anyone to store your data and for what cost. And that's all stuff that you need to do in Filecoin. And there's zero overhead to get it into your smart contract. And that is the key problem that we're solving here. And that is the thing that makes Web3 possible. And then the validators do transactions. That's just normal smart contract transactions. So these transactions will be paid for with Zand. And then the delegated storage layer is there, and it's happening on the storage providers. And there the fees will be split, right? Because on the validator level, we validate storage transactions also. But the storage providers will do the storage work, and they will get rewarded for it in Zand token also. That's coming from the validators. So that's a good point. I might create a nice diagram for that as well. From Indonesia, yeah, selamat pagi. Oh, yeah. All right. So, yeah, if there's not any more questions, I mean, the launch is coming up. July 30th is the big relaunch of the Xandeum chain. And the last opportunities to be part of it will be coming soon, right? So right now we have only one node left at the $2,000 mark. Before the price goes up to 2,500. Let me just check here. Yeah, that's still the status quo. And And then we have price increases by $500 each and every 7 nodes sold, right? And the ICO is in full preparations. ICO for November, that's the super most exciting thing, especially for you guys that already have nodes and you've collected all your rewards and you will finally be able to trade them. We probably need to do some sort of lockup. Otherwise, we just can't get the tokens listed. So we will decide about that in the DAO so that we can do some lockups. Because otherwise, Binance or Coinbase or whoever will just not list the token. If the early team members and early node owners can all sell on day one, that will just tank the price. So there might be some lockups. But still, this is super, super exciting to have that ICO. And yeah, it's the last few days now where you can get a node before the launch. Because if you do it before the launch, you'll get that ENO NFT. I think I can show it here. Yeah, here we go. And this is that nice NFT. And it gives you tons of benefits, twice the voting power in the DAO and so many other things. But then with the launch, there will be a fantastic launch offer, right? And we will make that public in a press release. We will announce that in a different video. And it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic launch offer. And it's going to be time sensitive, as always, right? So if you want to participate in that launch offer, it's going to be on Sunday, July 30th, 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So that should be 20 hours Central European Summer Time, so like German time, 19 hours British time, and it's 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's noon Central Time. All right. On Sunday, July 30th, it's less than 2 weeks, right? So if you want to get your node there, you need to have your wallet funded. You find it all on the website, how to participate. So go to Xandeum.com. You need your USDC in there. And this is going to be the last great offer before the ICO, right, on November. And yeah, if you manage to get a great deal on the launch, that's awesome. And as with the other 2 launches that we had, it's going to be super time critical. So it's going to be 11 a.m. Pacific where that new node store opens, right? And I say so much right now. I'm not revealing the launch offer right now, but the first one that gets a transaction through after this time will have the highest benefits. And then the second one will also have almost the highest benefits. And the third, and it kind of decreases, right? So you'd have to be among the firsts after this launch date and time to get your purchase transaction through. And it's a little bit of luck, right? There is no absolute thing in that blockchain, because the blockchain can get slower and faster depending on who is the so-called leader that produces a block at that time. And since we don't really know how long the block times are, they vary also. On average, it's like 400 milliseconds on Solana, but it can be longer, it can be short. Sometimes it's a few seconds. So we can't really predict which node of the 2,500 validator nodes that Solana has will be the leader at the launch, right? And then you could position yourself to be geographically close to that leader. But yeah, honestly, you know, even an hour before, you cannot really predict who will be the leader. And even if you predict, that could just have a split, have a skipped slot at that point in time, and then it goes to the next one, right? So there is a big portion of luck in there, but you have to be there at 11 a.m. Pacific. And, you know, if you're not the first, maybe you're the 5th or the 7th, and you're still getting a great deal, right? And it's not like, you know, it's going to be better even than the other 2 launches that we had. I promise you that. And just watch out on this channel, because it's all going to be revealed really, really soon, and it's going to be in the press, and it's going to be super exciting. Yeah. All right. So every day, new coins are listed on CoinMarketCap at a wide variety of prices. How are these prices created? Some at 0. Blah, 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 some at $3. Who sets the price? In case of Xandeum. Well, the ones really setting the price is obviously the market, right? It's supply and demand, right? There is an initial price, but if we set the initial price, in a way that it doesn't fit supply and demand, then within a very short time, seconds, minutes, days, whatever, the price will adjust to what supply and demand says, right? And obviously there can be a lot of supply from early node owners such as you or team members of Xandeum and things like that, that want to kind of swap part of their Xand holdings into USDC just to diversify their portfolio or stuff like that. That's the reason the exchanges require these lockups, typically for 12 months, 18 months, or stuff like that. And it's the same on the stock exchange if you have an IPO and some company goes public. But yeah, we set the price together with everyone who's helping us, right? The exchanges and the consultants and the lawyers and so on and so forth. Given our current economic model, it would be my personal goal, and that, of course, is no financial advice. It's not even an official statement from Xandeum or stuff. I just own a few Xands as well. And my goal would be, and I've discussed that with a few guys, that we're going to be at least 10 cents per token, and most likely way higher, right? But supply and demand will tell, and we're going to test that out with a few others that might want to buy some tokens before the launch and stuff like that. So we need to figure that out, and we need to make sure that not everyone tries to sell at the beginning, right? That's why I wanted to give us a little bit of time until we can show more of the chain and of the technology that's there. Maybe even some projects that are interested in building on Xandeum, and then we have that balance of supply and demand for the token a little bit balanced out. Yeah. Hope that helps. Will the DevNet on August 15th need storage nodes or just validators? It's going to be just validators. So we are starting with just a naked clone of Solana, right? Like the fork of Solana that we're building on. So it has no storage functionality yet. It's just there to get our DevNet up and running, have something where we can test on, and then we step by step, our developers build the storage layer, build the move language, a plugin that is there, and all these type of things, right? So that's going to be happening step by step after August 15th. And since it's an incentivized DevNet, it's also a great opportunity for anyone who wants to put in the hardware and the network connectivity and stuff to earn significantly more Xand. Alan, for those who transferred their Bitoku token for the DAO, will those DAO tokens remain, or was what we have done just a test run to get all the details figured out? Yeah, it was, in a sense, the Bitoku DAO was kind of a test run. You can keep your Okus in there, you can withdraw them, whatever, but there will be technically it will be a complete new DAO, the Xandeum DAO, right? And the Xandeum DAO will be powered by the Xand token, and the Bitoku DAO is powered by the Oku token, right? So, yeah. Sometimes I say maybe the Oku token has some collector's value at some point in time. I don't know. Maybe you guys want to keep the Bitoku DAO up and do something with the Bitoku DAO, I'm not sure, but it will be more or less abandoned by us because we're moving on towards the Xandeum token and the Xandeum chain and the Xandeum DAO, right? Okay. Mark Caffey, hello. Brian, looking forward to it. Then Boyan, at what time will the node owners have to run a physical validator node to earn the rewards? So that will be the case after our mainnet beta launches, right? So we have a mainnet beta launch penciled in for second half of 2024. And that is all a little bit hard to predict, right? Because there's, it's some technical stuff to do until then. This is not easy stuff, right? These are hard problems, right? Hard problems to solve to get, a storage chain really integrated with a smart contract chain and make it easy for smart contract developers to have that delegated storage, which we call eggs. I love that acronym so much. It's the external global grouped storage, right? And it's external because it's not stored on the validator. It's delegated to external entities, which are the storage provider nodes, right? So it's external and it's global because everyone can access, every smart contract can access it, but it's grouped, right? So we can group it into buckets and say, okay, this smart contract, this app that we're building there, and I call these the CET apps, right? The storage-enabled decentralized apps. So those are the real Web3 apps, right? And these we can have one bucket for that setup and one bucket for the other setup. And if you're developing a setup, you can even say, okay, I need 5 buckets that are separated from each other, right? So that's why it's called group. So it's the external global grouped storage. And I like eggs, and I also like that acronym. All right, so it's going to be happening in late 2024. And then after the mainnet beta goes live, we give you guys a little bit of a transition phase, right? And we haven't hammered out the details of that transition phase yet, but it's going to be like, okay, the mainnet beta is live now, and it's going to be a few months until everyone can transition and stuff like that, right? And if we're super lucky and all 6,300 founders nodes have been sold by then even the nodes might be tradable. So let's see. And as I said, my goal is for anyone, not to leave you hanging out there, right? So if you guys bought that node, you want to run that software, but then in the end you can't for whatever reason, or you don't want to, we'll find a solution, but I don't have that solution now. And, it's kind of tomorrow's problem to me. And I don't have all the input, we don't know exactly what the hardware requirements are and, whatever it is. But my goal is for everyone to have a solution out there and not let anyone out there in the rain. Okay. Then Ian Ansel, may I ask how successful has this been, and would you ever combine the two? I don't know if that would even be appropriate. Yeah, Ansel has been quite successful, and we have that subscription model there, which is a great business model. We might even come out with specialized hardware for running validators. I'm not so sure. But I want to keep these separate, right? For many, many reasons. I don't want an Ansel customer to worry about this blockchain stuff, and I don't want node owners to worry about Ansel and to worry about, they only want me to sell their hardware or stuff like that, right? So that's definitely not the case. It's two completely different endeavors. And, if I can and if it makes sense for everyone, there can be an offer from Ansel to provide these pieces of hardware to run the validators on, and that would just be an added piece of kind of serendipity for everyone. But I would always leave that completely open, and leave the validators with many choices where they can get their hardware, because I just feel it's completely a different businesses, and it's also different shareholders, by the way, right? So there's external shareholders within Ansel that don't know anything about it, or don't own any shares in Bitoku or Xandeum or something. But that's not the key reason. The key reason it's just different businesses. What is a DevNet? A good question. So I have a video about DevNet, testnet, mainnet, and all these things. So if you go to Blockchain Bernie on YouTube and just go to my channel page and scroll through a little bit, you'll find the one about DevNet and testnet and stuff. In short words, it's just the blockchain as it should be, but it's only for development purposes to help developers test out things. So it's kind of a not real type of thing, right? So you, with all the tokens there, they are basically for free. There's faucets there where you can get all these tokens, so they don't have real value. The whole thing is just there for testing, right? So the word testnet is quite common in blockchain. So there are various testnets for Ethereum, and Solana has its own testnet. And the testnet is more for performance testing, right? It's very close to the real mainnet, so that, on testnet, they can test out new releases of the blockchain validator software before it goes live on mainnet. And then the devnet is something where people build apps to run on our blockchain, and they can use the devnet to test it out. What device do we need to run the nodes, and when will we start running them? Well, you can, if you want to, you can start on August 15th, right, with the incentivized devnet. So you can run your physical validator then. There's a page on the Xandeum.com website. If you go to Xandeum, and then there's resources, and then blog, and there's a blog post about the incentivized devnet. So you find everything there. You find the hardware specs there that you need, and also the network connection that we need. So yeah, anyone who's interested in gaining experience later on, that gives you a huge advantage, right? And if you look at all the other blockchains with who's really making money off of running a validator, it's always the ones that were there really early, that have all the skills. Maybe they've built some tools for other validators that other validators like, so they make themselves a name in the community, and all these type of things, right? And we have a few, as I said, that already run our devnet, a devnet node, without being incentivized, right? So on an Ansel, by the way, on an Ansel 1, right? So that's cool. And yeah, so you can run that one starting August 15th, or even today, right? So as I said, there's a few guys that even do it today without getting the incentivization for that. All right. So Boyan again, for someone who collects Oku tokens since the private launch, after the launch of Xandeum on the 30th of July, we will be able to claim one-on-one the amount in Xandeum, right? So yeah, that's a question I'm getting over and over again. In principle, yes. It might just be that there was an error in the calculation of your rewards in the Oku. So you might have the wrong amount of Oku in both directions. We really don't know. So that's why in the new Xandeum store, we show you in detail in a table, so you will be able to 100% trace that. How many Xan do we owe you, or how many Okus would we have owed you, right, if we made everything correct? And there were some software bugs in the Bitoku thing. So some people, probably many people, received a wrong amount. But on the other hand, we did a beta test, right? So you guys still, you rock, right? This community is awesome because we were asking for beta testers for the new Xandeum node store, right? So we had, I don't know, at least like 20 guys, I feel, that really dived into it and did all their testing there. And I've heard of nobody that said, oh, the amount of Xan that I have now is completely different from the amount of Oku that I had before, or something like that, right? So it should be one-to-one, but it might not always be precisely one-to-one. And that is because the Oku amount was wrong. And the only thing that's the law here is the light paper, right? Because the light paper includes the tokenomics, and the light paper says exactly how much rewards everyone should get, right? And with Xandeum, you get exactly that amount that you should get, and it should be about the same as the amount of Oku that you have collected before. Hope that answers the question. Will the Xan tokens be classified as a security after ICO? So first of all, the way, and I can only talk for US law at this point in time, and even there I cannot talk because I'm not a lawyer, right? I can just say my understanding here. What I've learned is it's not a token that is a security or not. It's each and every sales transaction that can sell it as a security, or it cannot sell it as a security, right? So if I would tell you, hey, buy this token, it's a great investment, and you earn this and that % interest due to the work that I do, then I would sell it to you as a security, right? Which I'm definitely not doing, because I sell it to you as a utility token. You can, you run your own validator. First of all, that's your own business, not ours. And you get these tokens as rewards, and you can use these tokens to power the chain, right? And to validate transactions, and to validate storage transactions, and all of this. So, and my understanding, it is a pure utility, and it'll always stay utility. We're not in DeFi or we're not a finance platform in any way. It's just an L1 smart contract blockchain with a storage layer, right? I hope that answers it. I'm in Nigeria. Can I join? Yeah, that's awesome. One of my, when I was still living in Germany, it's now almost 9 years that I've been living in the US. Before that, I was born and raised in Germany, and lots of Nigerians there. And, one of my best friends and business partners was from Nigeria. So it's a great country. It's growing, right? Nigeria will be, the fourth largest country in the world by population within, really soon. And yeah, of course you can participate, right? So that's all you need is USDC in your wallet, and you find that on the Xandeum website and also the old Bitoku website, how to participate, so how to get a wallet, how to get it funded. And you need a little bit of SOL in your wallet to pay for the transaction fees, and then you need USDC in your wallet to pay for the nodes or one node or whatever. But yeah, otherwise I wouldn't know why not. Michael, could you please explain what it means to use Xan tokens for storage services? So, first of all, we used to have Okubin, and now we have Xandbin.com. There you can spend your Oku tokens to store data on the blockchain. This is just an MVP right now with the Okubin or Xandbin. But when these smart contracts, so people build apps, SAT apps on top of Xandeum, right? So there's going to be, they build a cool app, right? It could be a Web3 version of Airbnb. It's kind of my favorite example, right? So, and for that app to run, you have to pay gas, right? You have to pay gas like in Ethereum or in all the others to execute your transactions, right? You pay this gas on our blockchain in Zand, right? And when the transaction includes storing things, right, and storing gigabytes of things, you pay more Zand, right? Just on Solana and Ethereum, you just pay for the transaction, mostly for the CPU, and you cannot really have transactions that store gigabytes, terabytes of data, because that would be super, super expensive on these chains. On the Xandeum chain, it works, and everyone who does these transactions, has to pay for these transactions in Zand, right? So in the case of that Web3 Airbnb, right, they ask people to upload photos of their places, right? These photos will be uploaded to the blockchain then, right? And that costs Zand to store it there, right? And that app developer has to pay for that in Zand, right? Well, that's how it works. Last question is, as this is an AMA, how did your YouTube channel go from a few thousand subscribers to 271,000 in such a short amount of time? Are there bots, or have you had a sudden interest in Xandeum? So as I mentioned it in some of the sessions, what is all out there is like you can buy views or buy likes or stuff like that, right? And then it's like this and that per view, per like. And we did not do any of this, right? So that would be crazy. And you just get an army of people that have no interest in our subject, in this case, blockchain, and they just view and like and even comment things like that, right? So that doesn't help. But what we did do, and I mentioned that a little bit ago, we did some advertising with Google Ads, and YouTube is owned by Google, as you all know. So we paid for being shown on YouTube search results. So if someone types blockchain of the future, try it out in the YouTube search bar, then some of our videos pop up in the search results as paid search results, right? Yeah, and that's basically it. So we're advertising some search terms there, like Web3 future, blah blah blah, and when people search for that, they are interested in this, right? And we're just being shown higher up in the list of search results. That's what we've been paying for, but people click voluntarily to view that video, and they also voluntarily subscribe or don't subscribe, right? So, and that's how we did it, right? Just spend a little bit of money to get the word spread out, and just our videos to be put in front of people so that it actually shows up in their YouTube feed, right? Because if it doesn't show up, how can they know, right? So, and that's how the world works. You need to pay a little bit for advertising. That's what we did. And yeah, and on one day I drove it up a little bit, and I was shocked myself to see it next morning like 100,000 more. So, but you cannot spend that much like every day, right? But you could, right? I think it's super easy, if you have like whatever, 20, 30, 40, $50,000, we can get it to 2 million subscribers easily, right? But yeah, it doesn't really make sense. But I just want to get it out to people's feeds so that they see the thing. And that's all, new people that join the community, right? And I was so happy to see people from Nigeria today, from Bangladesh, from Senegal, from what else was it? Indonesia, right? They probably would have never found us without that. And they are now here. They are part of the community. And yeah, I'm super glad about that, and hope everyone finds their way here. It's a little bit sad that kind of the minimum contribution now is $2,000, right? So this is not the place where someone can get in for like $50 or so. It is as it is. So not everyone will be able to even afford it or things like that, but can still be part of the community and be an ambassador, or maybe just create an affiliate group and help find other people that buy nodes, right? That's also a great idea for some of these people in the countries that I've mentioned, right? So look into our affiliate program, become a Xandeum affiliate. It's a great way to earn some additional money. Yeah. All right. Will there be a change from light paper to a white paper at some point? Yeah, this is not really a change, right? It's just like two different papers. And it's a little bit sad that the naming is not, it's not protected names, right? Light paper and white paper. The light paper will stay. The light paper is being adapted as we speak to reflect the new economic model that we've put in place. And the light paper is also something like when we get it listed, it's kind of the prospectus, right? So when you're a stock corporation and you want to get your shares listed, you need to have what's called a prospectus, and that describes what people are buying, right? So if you want to know what are you buying when you buy a node, it's in the light paper. If you want to know the tokenomics, it's in the light paper, right? If you want to know how does the Xandeum Preferred Club work, and people have been asking me for ages with that, and good news is it's really going to be a reality very, very short after the launch. So you find all that in the light paper, and it's going to be, and it stays like that. The white paper is that very, very technical, almost scientific type of thing, right? So there's going to be a few equations in there, like the ones you saw here, right? And we talk about the ZK snarks, the zero knowledge proofs, and all that kind of stuff, right? It's a very technical paper. I think it's important for kind of the community that's really, really knowledgeable about blockchain, that they see what we're doing here, and that it's not like some there's so many blockchain projects out there that have no substance or so, right? So it's all going to be described there in a scientific paper, right? And we already have it online on GitHub as a discussion version. We're circulating that in a very small circle at this point in time. But in the very next few days, it's going to be out there for a larger community to review, and it's going to be there by July 30th. Yeah, so some of our community members have already looked in there, and yeah, but it's not a transition or anything, right? So the light paper will stay in force, and the white paper is just a different paper for a different audience. All right, cool. Yeah, so 50 minutes again. So thank you all for your participation. It was a great meeting as always. And yeah, I'm super excited for the launch, and it's a lot of things to do for us on so many fronts. And I was in another meeting, and I said, like, if you heard me right now, I said that's a lot of things to do. I didn't say it's a lot of work, because I canceled the word work from my vocabulary, right? I'm calling it now a joyful celebration of life energy. How does that sound, right? So, and that helps me to have a whole different feeling about my work. But I have that great feeling anyway, because I'm working on a big problem that humanity faces, and it's just going to be great. And I'm looking forward to the days when we talk to these developers that are building all these cool apps and like to build on Xandeum and all these type of things. All right, then have a good day, everyone. Thanks for watching and participating, and talk to you guys soon. Bye.